Let's do some undetectable, crease-free, texture-free, foundation-free makeup. Using these Demi correctors, which use color science to neutralize and tone the skin without added makeup texture. They are a very sheer opacity, so it allows you to have this beautiful skin-like finish while still covering trouble areas. I'm gonna show you how I did this entire look in just 4 easy steps, but before I even show you, you have to know that when it comes to Demi, the right colors in the right place and the right tools is literally the game changer. Like if you don't have the right colors in the right places or the right tools, you're not gonna have the same finish, all right? So I'm gonna use the shape brush, this guy right here. We're going to use this for steps 1, 2, and 3, okay? And I'll show you what that is in just a minute. And then the spot brush and the bright brush are for step 4. Spot brush is for acne and small dark areas, and the bright brush is for under eyes. They are a must. Step 1 is to tone the skin. Think of toning like bronzing or self-tanning. We're essentially just evening out the color by either adding color where there's lacking color. So for me, it's along the jawline, kind of in the forehead area, or we're removing excess color. So if you have, a lot of redness right here across the center part of the face, you're just kind of balancing that color by toning. So I am going to use a color called 05. Remember, this is very sheer opacity, so it looks dark and scary, but it's going to go on very sheer. And I'm using the shape brush. When it comes to Demi, the brushes are everything. So I'm just going to barely tap into this 05. Look at how little of product is on my brush. And I'm only going to add this color right here on the jaw. You can see I obviously got too much product right here, but no need to worry. Just kind of blend and spread that color around. I'm just kind of filling in the gaps here. If you are someone who has dark spots or melasma, you're going to tone around those areas. You don't want to add more pigment or more color there. So for me, I'm just doing it along the forehead, the jawline, kind of up here on the sides, and a little bit on the sides by the temple. Okay. Done toning. Step 2 is to sculpt out the features, which is also kind of a form of toning, but you're going to use different colors. So I'm going to sculpt with Demi Sculpts, and I'm going to use an NR and an NV, okay? Again, here is where you could use a 3D contour shade like Astoria or just any contour shade that you have. I actually have a lot of excess green and yellow in my shadowing areas, which is why I like to mix the NR and the NV because it's an opposite. So it does a good job of toning while adding a little bit of definition, whereas the 3D contour actually is a green base, so it's adding more to the shadowing. So it's just gonna be a little bit more prominent or obvious. Hopefully that makes sense. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the shape brush, same brush as the toning, and I'm just gonna tap between my NR and my NV, like so, and then apply in my contour areas. If you find that your 3D contour is looking muddy or separating, or it's just not lasting the way that you want it to, you might want to try giving some of these Demi Sculpts a go, because it's just a different consistency. It's more of that sheer opacity, and it's more precise in that color. Like I said, it's more about kind of toning the color versus adding more of that same color. Most of us have excess green and blue in our shadows. So, I mean, generally, when we're talking about contour, that's why we're telling you to pick contours that are cooler, because those are cooler, more dull colors. Some people need red, some people need oranges. It just depends on the depth of your skin tone. I'm just mixing the NR and the NV for the sides of my nose as well. Step 3 is to add blush. So we want to do all of these steps before we go ahead and focus on the under eyes and any other dark spots or acne spots. And I am still using the shape brush. I'm just flipping it over to this smaller side, and I'm going to tap into my RV7, which is a red violet. The number just indicates the level of saturation, because again, lots of that green and yellow going on in this area, and this just so happens to be very close to my natural flush color. So if you want your blush to look very natural and very even on your skin, you want to reach for something that is mimicking your natural flush. So So just kind of applying this here. Now, if you have natural redness in your cheek area, it's beautiful. It's your natural redness. So what you want to do is just simply choose a demi color to fill in between that redness to create a beautiful even blush color. 4 is to filter out the most distracting areas on the face, which are typically excess color underneath the eyes, acne, and dark spots. We're not trying to cover every tiny little spot on the face, just the biggest, most distracting ones, okay? So for this step, we are going to focus on the under eyes. And a lot of us tend to have kind of purple or blue underneath the eyes, sometimes some muddy green. So I am going to use these 3 colors. So we have R01, red, orange one, to counter out some of the green freckling I have here. And then we've got O3 for my bluish veins and shadowing on the outer edge. Shadow is excess blue. And then yellow orange one for the purpley blue section right here. So I am using the bright brush, okay? And I'm going to tap into my Y01. Look at how little, I mean, you can barely even see product on the brush. Tiny, tiny amount, okay? And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm only going to add this yellow orange one very lightly to that purpley blue section. You've got to use the right colors in the right places. We're not treating this like a concealer or a foundation where we're just sweeping all of the color underneath the eye. We want to target those exact opposite colors with the right color and the right tool. Okay, so that was yellow orange 1. Now I'm going to move to my orange 3, small side of the bright brush, and I'm just going to add it along the veins here, this darker area here, and the shadowing on the outer part of the eye. Following the same thing on this side, O3 on the shadowing, and then we're going to switch to our R01, and I'm going to switch to my spot brush. This brush is a must, both of these, and I'm just gonna target where those kind of little freckly points are on the face. Got a little bit too much right here, but that's okay. I'm just gonna take this side, tap it out, and then I'm just gonna add a little wash of color right here and kind of tone some of that muddy, dull areas. That tiny little freckles from sun damage can create just that extra dullness. Okay, and now going to use the spot brush, and I'm going to use yellow orange 1 on my red looking acne spots. Redness on the skin is very rarely a true red. It is very rare that you will ever use a green. In fact, most people will never use a green on the redness. They're almost always going to use either a yellow orange or an orange yellow because redness is actually excess purple and blue, and it comes through as red on the skin. So yellow orange is kind of the MVP of demi correctors because almost everyone is going to use this color. Okay, so if you have a lot of redness going on here, you're probably just going to do like a light wash of yellow orange 1. I'm going to do just a little wash right here around the nose. And on these areas on the chin, see how they're darker and more dull? They don't quite look as like bright red as those other spots did. That is a faded acne scar. And anytime something starts to become more dull or dark or shadowy, that means it has a lot more blue in it now. So now I'm gonna reach for my O3. The darker the color, the higher the number or level of saturation that you'll need. So you might need an O1, an O3. If you have a deeper skin tone, you may even need an O5. So that's why I'm using O3. And I'm just going to add it right here to those little acne scars. And then tap out any excess color. The goal obviously is to not overuse the product. These little demi guys, they should last you like 2 years. This is what we're left with. Beautiful, texture-free, crease-free, undetectable makeup that literally can't even feel on your skin. Look at this. Look at this. Every time I do this, I'm blown away. It's just so freaking cool. Comment match below if you want your own customized undetectable makeup routine.